This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here.
Well, you said it, not me.
I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah? Yeah, you should. Which begs the question, why are you up here bitching at the UN about climate change? I mean, I know I'm a Negro and I have an IQ under 85, but maybe I'm just ignorant and I just haven't been paying enough attention to current events, but truly I am confused as to why a child is complaining to a bunch of adults about climate change. I think I missed something here.
Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
You know, I probably should take that seriously, but I really can't. It's such a beautiful bloody meme. It's such a meme. It's so meme-tastic. It's beautiful. I mean, seriously, like, just check this stuff out.
Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Okay, fine. I will respond to this seriously. Greta, here's the thing. Adults, even lots of older generations, more than anything else actually, oftentimes place their hopes on young people because they realize that their life is finite and that they will die at some point in time, and that eventually they'll lose the influence to do anything. So they push the next generation on to pick up or carry the flame of the last person. Adults sometimes draw their strength from the idea that their children's lives will be better, that their children will be safer and happier, that their children will be able to live the life that they couldn't, that they can accomplish the things that they couldn't. And sometimes this can get excessive. Excuse me. Some adults try to live vicariously through their children. That certainly can happen. But the hope or the desire of wanting your children to be smarter or better or stronger than you, Greta, isn't a bad thing. And it certainly isn't an offensive thing either. If anything, I think a lot of adults should love their children, or at least have these hope for their children, or the next generation, or something. Because the alternative is their apathy. And apathy certainly does not help children, or anyone.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
No, I'm pretty sure your parents did that.
And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones.
I'm glad you have enough self-awareness to realize that. Somehow a 16-year-old girl was able to hop on airplanes and come across the ocean to complain to world leaders. Who would have thought that it took Asperger's to make a woman have self-awareness? I broke character there. That was a really shitty thing to say, but I really thought that's actually pretty funny. It's sad but funny. Holy crap. Alright, I'll get back into character now. Oh man.
People are suffering. People are dying.
Yeah, that is true. Every single day. Not entirely sure if it has anything to do with the planet getting warmer, but yeah, that is technically a true statement.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
You know, there was this whole ice age thing that occurred on the planet a couple thousand years ago. I mean, I wasn't there for it, but you know what I mean. I mean that happened, and there were once these gigantic reptiles that used to, walk across the surface of the planet. What do we call those things, by the way? Are they called? I think they were called dragons. No. Just giant lizards. What did we call them? I don't know. They're all gone now. They're all extinct. There are lots of other species of animals that are also not here anymore. The long and short of it is, extinction, it happens. And we can't control it. Because we're only human. Sorry to say, but it happens. If you're trying to imply that we humans are on the brink of extinction, well, I just have to say, we're 7 billion fucking strong. I don't really know. I don't really know if that's what you're referring to.
And all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
That would be because they're big business owners. And I would imagine the only thing they really care about is being able to make money. I'm not sure why you can't grasp that concept. It might have something to do with the fact that you are a child. And you are very naive about how the world works. I assume that that's why you can't grasp that concept.
How dare you!
Find it particularly interesting. And some people might say I'm off the pale, but let's talk about this one for a second, right? It's interesting to me that, in China, the amount of young men vastly outweigh the amount of young women. And do you know why? Well, that's because, as it turns out, there's a law in China that makes men obligated and responsible to take care of their parents once they hit a certain retirement age, or once they hit an age where they can't work anymore. But that law does not require young ladies in China to do that. So you know what a lot of the parents did in China for a couple of years? They aborted the female fetuses because they wanted a safety net that a son would give them. Billions of female Chinese babies were killed in the womb. And did you know, back in 2014, the amount of abortions actually outweighed the amount of live births of young African American people in New York? Now I know what some of you people are thinking. You're thinking, that's got nothing to do with nothing. And you're right. It does have nothing to do with nothing. Obviously, women choosing to kill their children before they even get to breathe air isn't the same as the planet getting warmer and massive amounts of destruction occurring. But what I am saying here is, if we're going to be talking about the billions of deaths of human beings, well, I don't think we need to worry about the planet getting warmer in order to get that. Oh wait, they're not human beings, they're fetuses, so they don't count. Oh, and there were women in China, or not even women, they were females, so they don't count either. I mean, seriously, if we can let women kill their children by the millions on a regular basis, I really don't understand how anyone can get on stage and start bitching and complaining about the fucking planet getting warmer and how that's going to cause massive amounts of destruction. I mean, all of the natural disasters we have to face by itself, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, droughts. I mean, we've already got to face nature in general. But if we're talking about, like, man-made billions of people being killed, at the very least millions, I mean, I don't know. Greta, I think we can start there. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a tangent, but I felt the need to say that. I really did.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight?
You know, she does have a point there. You know, I remember I watched a couple of videos on global warming, and every time we were brought to ask about solutions, some of these dumbasses had the audacity to tell me that if I walked more and I took public transportation and I recycled, I would reduce my CO2 emissions, and somehow that might help the planet become cooler. Oh wait, no, it won't. It'll just limit the carbon emissions, but it actually wouldn't reverse anything that occurred. So it's actually not a solution as much as it's not adding to the problem. But the only irony there is it wouldn't, like, the personal emissions of one person would not even, one, make a fucking dent to the amount of production all of these different companies are making, and all of the different industrialized companies on the other side of the fucking planet are producing anyway. So,
You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency.
You hear, but you don't listen, child.
I mean, that clip has absolutely nothing to do with this video. I just really like that quote. And I just want more reasons to say that to people because it's so beautiful and succinct.
But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
But why? Why would you refuse to believe that? Maybe you didn't learn about this because you're not in school, but there have been numerous genocides caused by human beings across the generations. I mean, maybe you didn't learn about the Armenian genocide, but I'm certainly sure you learned about the Holocaust, where people who had a lot of control and power ended up killing millions of people. Greta, I'm just lost for words. What the fuck? Why would you... Is this the ignorant naivety of a child? You don't think that evil people exist in these big corporations and these big businesses, and there aren't corrupt government officials, and there aren't evil people in control of things that are psychopathic or they don't care about us? I mean, yeah, you're a child. You're a child. I guess that answers that question on its face. But Greta, evil people exist. They clearly exist. And some of them exist in high places. Your refusal to believe that or understand that, I think, will be your own undoing. I don't really think I have much else to say there. I really don't.
The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control.
Two things. One, are we really making this much of a kerfluffle about 1 fucking degree? I guess that 1 fucking degree is gonna melt 20,000 tons of ice and flood the whole of the planet. Maybe it will, but I certainly don't think it is. But yeah, maybe I'm just ignorant here. And if I am ignorant, I think that's okay. Because, my second point, is... Like, listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna play a clip, and I know it comes from, like, it is the precursor to the dumbest fucking movie quote ever. Okay, maybe not the dumbest, but, like, it's up there. It's pretty fucking stupid. I know it comes in front of that, but, you know, it's actually really succinct. I don't think a lot of people really caught that wisdom. Here's the clip.
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around.
Now, I know, the very next words were, let them fight. But seriously, there is a really good point here. A lot of human beings seem to forget that we are slaves to nature, and that we cannot control it. We just can't. No one person can, and no one business can. And once again, even if all these businesses were to switch to alternative fuel anyway, and renewable fuel sources, we'd still have the same issue we have anyway, and there is no solution to that. So, all of this complaining isn't really going to help us accomplish, well, anything, really.
50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist.
Did you catch what she did there? Let me reenact what she did, alright, in Yu-Gi-Oh fashion. She says, I drew the card that I need. I activate the magic card. Throwing off responsibility! I can only activate this magic card when I chain react it with my trap card. Being a woman! This allows me to refuse to accept responsibility for anything and throw it back onto you! Okay, fine. In layman's terms, she's just basically nagging, for one, if you couldn't catch that. But for two, which is, I think, a little bit more pernicious and honestly is one of the most frustrating things about this shit, is the fact that she's trying to pretend that she doesn't have any responsibility to find solutions or fix the world, or that it's not fair that there's some responsibility put onto her and these younger generation of kids to fix a problem that somebody else caused. But of course, with all of the ignorance and naivety of a child, she doesn't realize that it doesn't fucking matter. And this tactic of trying to shame these businesses who don't give a fuck about you, or these world leaders that don't give a fuck about you, or the people at the UN that don't give a fuck about you, is not going to change them into people that give a fuck about you. It's just not. But she's, I mean, even with Asperger's, I guess she just can't escape the fact that she's a woman and she has to try to shame people in order to get them to do something different. Well, newsflash, you cannot shame he who has no shame. If these people don't care about you, if these people are evil, which they clearly are, considering the fact that, as you said, they're doing all these things, they're not doing anything to change it, then, unfortunately, young lady, if you want to keep living on this fucking planet, you gotta figure out a solution on how to live on this planet. So it's not about who caused it or what's causing it or who's doing this and who's doing that. If you want to fix the problem, then you gotta fix the problem. Sorry. Not sorry, actually.
So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable. And you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is.
This, of course, coming from a 16-year-old girl that apparently refuses to believe that evil people exist in high places. That's who's chastising us, by the way. That person.
You are failing us. But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal.
You know, I wonder, what exactly do you expect the reaction of these people to be now that you're shaming them and you're telling them that young people aren't going to forgive them? Oh, they hurt young people's feelings. They hurt your generation's feelings, huh? They hurt your feelings? What are you going to do? What, you expect them to be all like, oh, we hurt your feelings. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all the damage I caused to the planet. I'm so sorry. I don't care. And I didn't do anything about global warming. I apologize for everything that I've done. I'm gonna start trying to find solutions. You made me feel so bad, young lady whose name I can't even remember. I don't even know. What are you like hoping? Do you really think that these psychopathic people who don't care about the fact that they are destroying the planet, do you really think that at any point in time you chastising them is gonna make them change their mind automatically on a Sunday afternoon? I mean, wait, actually, like, do you really think that? Because if you did, I mean, you're a child, so.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
You can't forgive me? I don't recall ever asking you to forgive me! We'll talk about forgiveness when I wipe you out of existence!
We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
That's the end of their video, and subsequently, the end of mine. Now here's the thing. I'm a dumb nigger, okay? I've got an IQ of less than 73, okay? I'm really stupid, you know, and I'm ignorant as well. And I don't mean this one facetiously. Like, I really don't understand, like, why a child is, like, chastising anyone about anything, but I digress. And maybe I'm not the most equipped person to talk about global warming, because I mostly am concerned about the way people treat each other on the day-to-day basis. I'm not really concerned with the whole of the planet getting warmer and polar ice caps melting and tornadoes and earthquakes and shit. Because, honestly, I just don't have the energy to concern myself with shit that is just completely and utterly out of my fucking control. Which means, I don't... Yeah, okay, I'm ignorant. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about global warming. But I just have to say, I don't really think that she's the best person either. Especially not if her grand plan, or anyone's grand plan, is to try to shame these world leaders into acting or doing something different. Listen, politicians are corrupt, politicians are evil. They're going to do bad things because they're bad people. People should start to wake up and realize that. We've got a lot of sheep who just follow the words and the lies of these people. But hopefully, enough people get red-pilled for them to finally fucking realize that. I don't think they will, but I hope. Excuse me. But more to the point of Greta here. Because this young lady doesn't really seem to understand this basic concept. That sometimes, you know, it's not about who caused it. You jerk off responsibility for it. You say it's not fair that they put these hopes onto you. It's not fair that the older generation is looking to the younger generation to fix the problems they cause. It's not fair. It's not... Listen, if we're talking about the integrity of the planet, if we're talking about living on a habitable planet, it really doesn't fucking matter if it's fair. If you want to live on this planet, Greta, then you should probably work towards finding a solution. You should probably work towards trying to figure out a way to release the heat that is trapped in our atmosphere, or find a way to reduce the amount of CO2 that gets trapped and repair the ozone layer, or find some reason or some cause of global warming or whatever the fuck. I mean, here's the thing. If anyone wants to chastise me about how global warming works or how it doesn't work, then you're really missing the fucking forests for the tree. It doesn't fucking matter. If you honestly think that the planet is being destroyed, then work towards finding a solution. But I honestly highly doubt that you can, considering the fact that you are a human, and you are only a man, and that you can't control nature. It happens. Things go extinct. And do I honestly think that we humans are in danger of being obliterated in the next couple of years or a generation? Not at all. And if we are, well then so fucking be it. But as far as I'm concerned, considering the fact that we've got all these different things at the lower interpersonal levels that we gotta deal with, like men and women not even being able to fucking relate or talk to each other, worrying about the planet eventually combusting on its surface because of big businesses and CO2 emissions, I just think is a colossal waste of time. Unless you're trying to figure out some solution to this problem, trying to bitch at other people to fucking care about them who don't care isn't going to work. You may not have caused global warming, but if you want to keep living on this fucking planet, yeah, you better figure out a way to fix it. With that being said, man, I just hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, hit the like button. Make sure you go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.